Last week I asked if people would rather be perfectly understood or able to perfectly understand others. And it seems like the consensus is that people would rather understand others. But before I get to that, I'd like to ask a question for next week. That is, would you rather be constantly praised for things which you did not do, or never given credit for anything that you do? I look forward to reading your comments down below, and I very well might respond to them next week. I will be certainly responding to the question next week. And on that note,
Ah.
as I said, as of this recording, the consensus seemed to be that people would rather understand others than be perfectly understood themselves. And I think that says really great things about people's desire towards being empathic. And as someone who is currently living abroad, I can attest that while I'm generally able to get my point across in day-to-day interactions, when I'm at the supermarket or on the street and somebody asks me something which I don't quite understand or even just says something to me, that can be very difficult and it can take a while before I even know what basic information I'm trying to get across in response. If you're someone who is able to perfectly understand others, that means that you would make for a really great mediator or therapist or a guide on some worldwide tour. On the other hand, if you're someone who can be perfectly understood, you have great aspects to be a good teacher or a leader in some political movement or a guide for international tourists. It turns out that there's actually a lot of overlap between what you're good at if you can be understood or understand others, because really the two are two sides of a coin. Just to give an example of conflict resolution, it's obviously highly critical that I'm able to understand both sides of what's going on, understand both sides of the conflict. But it's equally critical that I'm able to tell what my point of view is. And there comes a point in personal conflicts where I feel that there's not so much an issue of me not understanding the other person, so much as actually trying to say what I mean to say rather than an angry diatribe or condescending platitude. But overall, I actually feel like personally I do fairly well empathizing with others, and language barriers aside, I understand what people are saying. Critically, I feel that I can understand the logic that makes people reach the conclusions which they do, even if I disagree with that logic or the results. I feel like I'm fairly competent at getting my own points across, sharing my opinion, knowledge, logic, hence making this kind of video, right? So, in that way, neither understanding nor being understood matters so very much to me, but one thing which I struggle with is reading the room. I can be fairly charismatic, if I do say so myself, if I know what everybody expects, what people want from an interaction, conversation, and just what other people are thinking going into the conversation. But before I know that, when I'm just entering into conversation, I can be hella awkward because I work for a long time just trying to guess what people are thinking. And in that way, I really struggle to judge other people's mood and thoughts and what their point is in saying this or that, and can just get caught up in my own head until nothing happens or I make awkward jokes or I can be a really awkward bunny. So, for me personally, I would still choose to be able to understand people better, but I think for possibly unconventional reasons. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts in comments down below, as well as your opinion of if you would rather take credit for things which you did not do, or not be giving credit at all for the things which you do do. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and consider subscribing so you never miss out. Until next time, see ya.